My name is Valerie Ling. I'm the Director-Founder of the Centre for Effective Living. The first degree that I enrolled in was actually in music education, and subsequently I moved into a law degree. Subsequently, I moved into a primary school teaching degree where I discovered psychology as a subject. So psychology was not introduced to me as an option or as an area of study, mainly because I didn't know very much about it. And when I encountered the psychology subject in the teaching degree, I absolutely just fell in love with it. I think it's the combination of my love for people, their stories, the creative space that we sit in when we're actually trying to figure out some unique ways that we can address some very, very unique situations and issues. Even though under the broad banner of mental health, there are some common symptoms that people might experience, but the context that they find themselves in, that's very, very unique. And so becoming a psychologist for me was about bringing together my love for people, my interest in communicating, as well as being creative in problem solving. For me, what brings meaning to my work is actually when I'm sitting down in front of a human being who is telling me some very painful things. There's deep sorrow, there's deep suffering, and yet there is such deep dignity and grace as well. I have to say that in my 20 years of being a psychologist, it's never the clients that leave me with a feeling of being burdened or stressed. I'm actually quite lifted and energized, because the bottom line is when you have someone who's actually sitting in front of you asking you if you would walk with them, it's an incredible privilege. And that privilege and the opportunity to actually join with someone in a moment of time when they're actually reaching for a difference, reaching for a more hopeful tomorrow, that's incredibly meaningful to me. Now, effective living is a name that I toyed with quite by chance. I was actually sitting at a cafe with a friend, and we were another psychologist, and we were really just burdened for I suppose the work that I'm most passionate in, and that's burnout prevention. And my colleague, my friend and I were just talking about the landscape, and we were saying that with something like burnout, it's so complex, it's so complicated. It's all of life, really. It's about the meaning that we find in our work. It's about the supportive relationships we have around us. It's about the convictions and the values that we share in common with the people whom we are traveling with. It's about resilience. It's about motivation. It's also about discouragement, and it's also about finding the strength to keep going. And I said in that moment, as we were just talking about that, and I said, you know what, wouldn't it be great, I said, if there was a place that didn't just focus on mental health, didn't just focus on workplace issues, but really just focused on restoring every individual into an effective life, a life where they were living in the middle of their goals and their values and being resourced to problem solve and to get the support that they need to make those next steps. Because as we usually say, life is a journey. Sometimes it feels like a marathon. And then I said, wouldn't it be great if there was a place like the Centre for Effective Living? And that very day I went home and I actually looked it up to see if there was another business that in Australia that shared their name, and there wasn't. And so the Centre for Effective Living, and therefore the ethos of effective living as a therapy philosophy, was born.